Sup nerds, I'm Tom, and today my special guest is...
Ray.
Yeah! Wait, Tom, special guest? That's not a special guest, that's just some guy you know. Well, yeah, we're gonna talk about Pie in the Sky. So, Pie in the Sky is the first expansion for My Little Scythe. If you haven't seen our thoughts on My Little Scythe yet, I'll put a link to that down below. It's with Ray is also in it. We're wearing the same clothes. We probably filmed these back to back, but you can't prove that, can you? What Pie in the Sky adds is pretty much two big things. It adds special player powers and this big airship, which a lot of the special player powers kind of revolve around the airship. So, I mean, I guess you could kind of see them as one thing, but you know what I mean.
With the expansion, Pie in the Sky, I felt like it wasn't an expansion. I felt like it was a necessity for this game. For it to be more like Scythe. I like the specific part of gaining a little addition to your player mat here, your player board. It gives you an ability, but of course, as you said, it just completely revolves around the airship. But these abilities can be awesome. They can also be terrible. I'm not a full believer on the expansion, to be honest with you. If I could just be very blunt.
I thought you said it was a necessity. You gotta pick a lane, right?
I know, but it's a necessity, meaning it's closer to Scythe, but it's just, I feel like it could have been better.
I gotta say I agree with you. So now listen, I'm not trashing on this at all. I do enjoy it. I would play with it again. I see what you're saying about it does make it feel more like Scythe, right? It starts tipping the scales more toward, like, this isn't just more stuff. This is more Scythe-ish stuff added to this game. Obviously, the airship. Have you played with the Wind Gambit expansion for Scythe yet?
I have not.
Neither have I, so...
That sucks.
Probably should have got somebody in here who has played with it. But I know that it does have something very similar to this, where you can have an airship and it can hold resources and it moves around and it doesn't obey the laws of the board kind of thing. Okay, I think the airship itself is pretty interesting. Like, you could probably, like, house rule it where you just have the airship where you roll the die. So whenever you do the seek action, you also roll this die that either has a 6 or a trophy. 6 is you move this airship up to 6 spaces. The trophy is you move the airship up to a number of spaces equal to the amount of trophies you have. So at the very beginning of the game, it'll be 5, because you actually have 5 trophies with the expansion instead of 4 from the base game. But as time goes on, you're going to roll it and you're going to be moving this airship like 2 spaces. And you can only land the airship on a space that has a resource, and then you can pick it up and put it in your cargo hold. So I bet you could sort of house rule it to where all you do is you move the ship and pick up resources, and it's just another way to gather extra resources. Because the other thing you can do is whenever you move the ship, instead of picking up resources, is you can trigger your special ability. And the issue that I have with this game, with the special abilities, is twofold. One is, like you said, they don't seem very balanced. Now, I've played it, the game. I played with the expansion twice now, seeing 6 different of the special player powers. And several times, the special player powers weren't used. Like, let me pull this up here real quick. So, the worst one I thought was the harpoon. So you may spend any number of... so you move the airship, and then you throw your harpoon token into the space. And then you may spend any number of apples or gems from the harpoon's space when you perform a make action. And then you lose 2 friendship if these are taken from another player. So in order to trigger this, you have to take the seek action, throw your harpoon down on an area that has resources, preferably more than 1 resource, because otherwise then you're not doing anything different than what the airship itself does. And then on another turn, do the make action to get to use those resources. So it has to last for a whole turn. Yeah. So especially if you throw it on a spot that's occupied by another player and you want to do the harpoon and steal it, you want to lose those 2 friendship to steal it from another player, you have to pick another player that, I guess, is already taken the move action, so they can't take the move action and just move away.
Or is completely oblivious of what you're trying to do.
I mean, I guess, but the player who had this when we played just never used it. It was just kind of like, oh, that doesn't seem that great. And I had Unstable Portal, where I could drop my own... it would be the same thing.
Cool.
I thought that was even cooler, but in the game, I didn't use it. And I won the game, So I feel like some of these seem pretty strong and like... Well, some of them definitely seem stronger than others. But the other complaint that I have about these specifically is none of them are game-changing. They're all like extra options that, yes, I guess I could use this. It would be good to use this. But it's not like, yes, I have this special player power. This is my thing. This is my strategy. I'm going for it. And I'm all about the quests. I'm going to get quests like crazy.
Right.
But that complaint might almost be a stupid complaint to have, because it's kind of in fitting with the game. If these things were game changers and really huge, then it would cease to be My Little Scythe. You know what I mean?
It would be My Middle Scythe.
That's a good point. Like I was like, oh, these special player powers are something that you could use or could not use or use once or twice, and it's not a big deal. But then I was like, well, I guess that's the point, right?
Right. I completely agree. If I may reinforce, the phrase you used was more Scythe-ish, because it really stays true to the Scythe world or universe, where it gives you that ability, that little player card with the specific abilities. Again, it's not well balanced at all. I do believe it could have been better. We
feel like it's not balanced. Yeah. Obviously, we haven't played it as much as the people who designed it, but in our experience, especially specific matchups with smaller player counts, when it's just like, this power versus that power.
Yeah, I will say, though, and again, agreeing with you, is that it definitely stays true to the My Little Scythe, the reason why this is what it is. Yeah. It's still carefree feeling. You can still make it a little competitive. It just gives you another option to venture. Really, a greater option to venture. It's an airship, so it's much easier to go around with. You can also pick up resources with it and put it into like a little bank.
Yeah, your cargo hold. Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I mean, that's really cool. It's something that you don't do without the expansion. Without the expansion, you're just running around holding this stuff. It slows down your movement incredibly, so literally by half, actually. So it's definitely a game changer in reference to resource gathering.
Yeah, I do like the addition of the airship.
I love it.
If it was just, and I feel like if this expansion was just the airship that just moves around and helps you get extra resources, people would be like, "What's the point?" So I guess the inclusion of the special player powers is also extra fluff, making this expansion. There's more stuff to the expansion, kind of more of a reason to purchase it. You'd feel like, if all you bought was the airship, you'd feel like you waste your money.
Again, in my opinion, I really enjoyed the expansion with the base, other than just the base alone, only because it made me feel more like Scythe.
Right.
I'm a huge Scythe fan, and it says Scythe on it. Those are just obvious explanations. But going back to the reason why he created My Little Scythe, it was to make it really kid friendly and also fun. So
if you have My Little Scythe and you like it and you want some more, I'd say sure, pick up this expansion. Now there's something that we did say in our review for the base game, which is that it is kind of hard to fit in the box. Like it does fit in there, you kind of have to jerry rig it. So if they have another expansion, I was saying I wish that they'd maybe come out with a big box for it too. But it's not essential. It's not going to be huge game changers. I guess it's just if you're tired of My Little Scythe, of just like if you play the same way over and over again, you're like, I'm just going to bum rush friendship, and then once I get that trophy, I'm going to lose friendship doing pie fights and getting pies or whatever. At least this can mix it up a bit. But I don't want you to think that this is going to add tons and tons and tons of stuff, because it really doesn't. And again, nor should it, I think. I feel like, again, you should be able to implement this expansion and still play it with kids. Like, the age didn't go up. It still says 8+, which I still think is fine.
For the price of pie in the sky, it really is just adding flavor to the game.
And you get more minis. You get a fox and owl.
You get pretty cool minis. I really enjoyed the fox. The owl is more detailed. Yeah, they definitely spent more time on that guy. But he's not as cool as, it's a fox.
So you might notice that Wes is not in this video, but he did play with this expansion, so we're going to cut to him filming at a separate location now.
Hey nerds, I'm going to start this by saying that I haven't actually played Scythe before, and I know, it's definitely a must play, and it's on that list, just haven't gotten there yet. But as far as My Little Scythe goes, I thought it was a nice little game. It was a little bit quicker than I expected it to be. I almost wanted a little bit more meat to it, so I'll probably really enjoy Scythe. But for a quick, 45 minutes, maybe an hour game that you can play with younger people, I thought it was a lot of fun. Now, as far as the expansion, I felt like it wasn't a must-have expansion, and I really didn't notice that big of a difference adding it in or taking it out. It definitely gave you one more thing to do on your turn. You could move the little balloon around and try to get more resources or do more depending on what your ability was to use it. Those abilities definitely seemed like it really depended on having a good ability to make you enjoy that expansion. Some of those abilities felt pretty lackluster, and I feel like if I had played with one of those, I really wouldn't have cared about the expansion at all. Other ones really like opened up the game for you. I had one that let me like go on quests that weren't in my area, and quests are tons of fun because you don't know what's going to happen. You flip the card and hope for the best, or hopefully that the no thanks is something you still need. So things like that made me say this expansion is great because it gives me more options of things to do on my turn. Other more like passive abilities or abilities that aren't really going to help me with my end game goal that I'm going for, So I feel like it's an expansion that, like, if you enjoy the game, pick it up because it adds like one more little tick to it. I wouldn't worry about like teaching somebody the game without the expansion either. It's simple enough and it's a small enough inclusion. I would just throw it all in there. Plus, you get a cool little airship mini, and that's who doesn't love more minis. Anyway, back to you, Tom.
Now, I know we kind of sort of gave it like a lukewarm, reception on this expansion, but we do put links to every game we review in the description box down below. So we'll have the base game and the expansion in the description box down below. Also down there will be a link for Game Toppers. That's this awesome thing that we're playing on right here, which goes right onto a table, regular table that you already own. You must have been thinking, wow, Tom, that's a really nice, expensive, custom-made game table that you probably spent $10,000 on. Nuh-uh, check the link, yo! Either way, you should subscribe to our channel so you'll never be bored. Pew! Pew! Oh, you've got laser guns now.